Black people. You want to talk about building generational wealth again? Let's go. You are in Hillman Talk Spring 2026 semester, and I want to welcome you to Wealth 101. Now, come on in and have a seat. You got some learning to do. I'm Professor E, your wealth guru, here to teach everyday Black folks how to build generational wealth. Now, like and comment and share and save. You know how it works. So I stay in your algorithm. They try and shadow ban your girl, but we're not going to let them do that. And remember, I'm never going to ask you for money or to invest with me. So if somebody does that, pretending to be me, report, block, move on. Okay. That's out of the way. Now, today we're going to continue our conversation on real estate. I believe in real estate, okay, as a foundation for building generational wealth. And this first strategy I want to talk about is one that I really, really, really believe in. I did it myself, okay? House hacking through multi-unit living. This one is powerful. It's a great way to start, okay? How do you do it? You buy a 2, 3, 4 unit building, and then you live in one unit, and you rent out the others. And instead of paying the full mortgage on your own, your tenants are helping you cover your housing. That's right. That is very, very powerful. So an example of that is, let's say your total mortgage is $2,400, right? And you got a 3 flat. Okay. You rent 2 of the units for $1,000 each. That's $2,000 coming in. And now you're living in your own property and you only got to pay $400 a month. All right. Instead of $2,400. Now that changes everything. And how do you do it? You look for a duplex. You look for a triplex. You look for a 4 unit. Okay. Then that's the first thing. The second thing is you got to use an FHA loan because you can put as little as 3.5% down on it. And here's the key. You have to live in that unit for at least a year. Look, you can do everything for a year. Okay. And then I want you to also try and work with the realtor who understands investment properties because they'll help you find the place you need. And that is how you reduce the cost of your own living and how you start to build that equity at the same time. And in that example that I just gave you, you're actually only paying $400 a month on your mortgage, right? Because your tenants are paying the rest. So I'm going to need you to take that extra $2,000 a month that you ain't paying on a mortgage, all right, and bump up your 401k. Did you hear me? Did you hear me? That's right. That's now $24,000 going into your retirement. And it's also coming off your taxable income because 401k contributions are deducted from your taxable wages. Do you see? You just did 2 things. You started building generational wealth by getting an investment property. And then you started building generational wealth by contributing to your own retirement, baby. That's how we do it. We're talking about the long game. Okay. Strategy 2, rent out some space you already have. If you already own a home, start where you are. You don't need to buy another property immediately. I need you to use what you have. And how do we do that? Okay, there's a couple of ways we do that. Number 1, you can rent out a spare bedroom. Now, this works great if you live near a college campus. A grad student would love a quiet place to live, okay? Medical student, grad student, they would love it, all right? Or you could turn your basement into a rental unit. And you really want to have a separate entry, okay, that can lock off to your unit. Because that's a whole nother apartment, y'all. And then you also want to maybe consider doing short-term rentals through like an Airbnb, VRBO. Again, I would have a separate entry and I would want to be able to lock off the access to my living area. I don't want to be in the kitchen and somebody roll up on me, right? So let's say you were to rent, your room for $800 a month to a college student. That's $9,600 a year. That's money that you can invest in the market, invest in your 401k, put it in a custodial brokerage account for your child or grandchild, save it for your next property, or even just pay down your mortgage. Okay. And how do you do it? Number 1, you got to check with your local zoning, check with your city rules, make sure it's okay to do. And then you want to make sure your space is safe and presentable. All right. You got to set some clear boundaries and agreements. And then you want to screen tenants. If you use those platforms, they kind of screen them for you. This is about being resourceful. Okay. Don't overlook income sitting inside your own home. All right. The last strategy, convert your first home into a rental. And this is the long-term play. I did this. I bought my home in 1998. And in 2008, I bought my next home and I began renting out my initial home. And it's been renting ever since. All right. We coming up on 18 years. The value is now 4 times what I paid for it. Okay. And now I have yet another asset to pass down to my children and grandchildren or use in retirement. And I'm about to do it again as I move into my next home and rent out my current home because now this will become a rental. And how do you do it? You move into a new primary residence using another low down payment loan. Okay. See, primary residences have a more favorable interest rate. Okay. You still got to keep that first home, but now you're renting it out. Okay. And hire a property manager if you don't want to manage tenants. But this really, this is only what I would do if I were to move out of the area. I don't want to hire somebody that then eats up all of my profit. Okay. So you really got to figure out how to do it yourself. I figured it out myself. Okay. And over time, you build a portfolio without selling assets. You hear what I'm talking about? You get what I'm saying? Some key principles to remember. Your home should not just cost you money. It should have the potential to make you money. And I need you to start with one strategy. You do not need to do everything at once. Long term is how you should be thinking. I need you to be patient because wealth builds over time, not overnight, not in a year, not in 2 years. You got to stay disciplined. And every decision should move you closer to ownership. Now, here's my final thought. Too many people buy a home and then stop there. But the goal is not just to own where you live. The goal is to turn where you live into part of your foundation for your wealth. Because once your home starts to work for you, you are no longer just a homeowner. You are an investor. You are a wealth builder. Okay? And that's the shift that changes your financial future for your family. Okay? That is my Wealth 101 class. I'll see you next time.